So, I normally don't like talking about people dying, but someone requested that I do some research into this and to create a video. And because there is a lot to be said about the particular subject matter, I figured I should oblige. So, in case you can't read the title, I'm basically going to be talking about Bianca Devins. Bianca Devins was a 17-year-old young lady who was murdered a couple of days ago, at least to the recording of this video. And what makes her murder particular is the fact that the man who murdered her slashed open her neck and then took pictures of it and uploaded them to the Discord server that she was running. I believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure she created the Discord server. What makes it even more interesting was the man. It was an attempted murder-suicide. He successfully killed Bianca, otherwise it wouldn't be here. And then he called the police and he tried to kill himself, when the police arrived and, found the body. He's actually in critical condition and a coma at the time I'm recording this video. So, yeah, that's where we are at. And I'm not one of those, moral crusaders who's not trying to name the guy because I don't want him. His name's Brandon. I just don't remember his last name. But he's actually, there's not enough information on him to really do an analysis, but there's a lot of information on her. And the thing is, there is a cautionary tale that is being ignored in favor of man bad, woman pure as the driven snow victim mentality that we have all seen constantly. And beyond, it's just aggravating to me to see that every story like this is oftentimes used to vilify all men on the internet, or not all men gets brought up, and then all the feminists and all the ladies are like, it's enough men. It's not just that that's annoying, but it's annoying because there's a lot to what happened to Bianca that just isn't being discussed. There's a lot about her as a person that honestly, I haven't used this cliched term in quite a long time, but it is no more accurate here than Bianca learned, or I guess she didn't learn because she's dead now, that when you play with fire, you're going to be burned. Now, to say that, especially nowadays, in the context of a woman learning anything or any bad thing happening to a woman, is considered victim blaming. But see, that's kind of its own thing. I really want this video more to be focused on Bianca and an analysis of her mind and how she definitely sought out the darkness and the darkness found her. As cartoonish as it sounds, I'm going to be reading a bunch of different stuff I found on her and kind of showing you guys that she definitely put the breadcrumbs up to her for this man to come and kill her. Of course, and this hopefully should be the first and last time I say this, but am I saying that she deserved to die? Obviously not, but it is important to discuss how her actions did indeed open the door and lay the foundation for what occurred to her to, well, dare I say, occurred to her. So where should we start? I think the best place to start is we're going to talk about who she is and where she came from, why she's even prominent. It's interesting because I actually knew about Bianca several months ago. There's a 4chan post I saw where a couple of guys were trying to locate her, trying to find her, and more than anything else, tried to actually help her. Well, I mean, if Reddit is a cesspool, then 4chan is the gates of hell, so there's actually a lot of vile people in 4chan. But I think the guys who were on this post that I saw, I think they were trying to do good. There's a couple of tidbits of information that we knew about her prior to this, occurring, that I will read right now. Let us begin by taking a look at the original 4chan post, or at the very least a copy of that 4chan post where they describe who she was. They say she's 16, now 17. She started browsing 4chan at the age of 12 to 13, mainly browses R9K, Soch, and FA. She got popular on all three boards due to her constant attention whoring, has borderline personality disorder, lost her virginity to a robot called Bachan. After that, it went all downhill and she turned into a whore, fucked lots of guys for drugs and money. We can confirm that it is 6, and I'll show you in a second. At the very least, it has been 6, which I will show you in a moment. Did camming and sent nudes to tons of people, is very kinky and has rape fantasies, admitted to having daddy issues, also got molested as a child, and we don't know if it was by her dad, made a sex tape with the guy she met on Discord, he shared it with his friends and got visited by the police. This caused huge drama, so she went quiet for a while. She used to only smoke weed, but then started taking harder drugs like heroin, often makes suicide threats for attention. She has an unnaturally long neck, which is
peculiar, but it is indeed true.
So, as we can see from these posts, Bianca is definitely not as pure and virginal and white as the driven snow as the media would portray. Let us first clear up a couple of things. The mainstream media has shown us that Bianca was, or told that Bianca was an Instagram star. Now, this is totally inaccurate. If you go on her Instagram now, which is Ecstasy, I believe it is called, you will see that now she had, or can't, I'm speaking as if she's still alive, that now the page has 152 followers since I last checked. Originally only had 400. Now, this is important because it's showing, or the reason I'm bringing it up and to show that she was very approachable as a person. Okay, and by very approachable, I mean she opened the door for people to come DM her, talk to her, give her attention. She was seeking out orbiters on a near consistent, regular basis. All right. More evidence to this would be her telonym account that I actually located, and I actually created a telonym and read some of the questions and posts that she made. I'm going to be showing you guys a couple in just a brief second. But what's important to establish is that Bianca, again, was a young lady who was seeking out orbiters, and she was seeking out men to follow her, men to give her attention, men to validate her. She was a very manipulative individual. And what's eerie about Bianca actually is the amount of self-awareness that she had. So I'm going to read a couple of more posts to really show you guys that Bianca knew exactly what she was doing.
I have too many orbiters. I can bounce back with twice as fucking hard. You know me. You know you mean jack shit to me. Don't do this. I can replace you in a fucking second. Please. You are nothing. You know you don't mean that. I was cheating on you anyways. I never cared about our relationship. You were always here just as plan B, as a backup when I didn't have anything better to do. I used you. Let me break it down for you all. I don't care what you think of me. Honestly, I could drop this all if I wanted, but I like the validation because daddy issues. Am I using people? Sure. Am I hurting them? Yes. It may be out of selfishness, I know, but I do care about them. I help people when they're upset, and I check on them whenever possible. It's mutualism in a sick, weird way. I don't mean to hurt anyone on purpose. I just want to love everyone and be loved by everyone. Because I'm too introverted and anxious to do it in real life, even though I'm entirely capable of that. It's easier to do it with you guys. I'm not trying to be edgy or whatever. That's just how I am.
See, what's interesting here is the language that she's using, right? Most women do not refer to the men that follow them around as orbiters. That's very weird. You know, most women, they have orbiters, but they don't call their besties orbiters. They don't call them besties. They don't refer to men that follow them around and cling to them as beta orbiters or as orbiters or anything like that. But Bianca did. Now this makes her special because it shows us that one, she's self-aware, and two, she's immersed in internet Chan culture. This is her domain. She knows what she's doing. She's not being a pretty naive flower on Instagram. She's not on the Twitter paving the path to what pornography. Actually, no. As it turns out, she was indeed selling naked pictures of herself. Now you got to remember this. This has been going on for a couple of years now, right? Now the Discord posts that I just showed you are marked 2 years ago. So she's been selling child pornography for quite some time now, and it's somewhere out there. But that's not that. Actually, that is here, but we're not going to look for it. What's really important isn't really the child pornography, but the validation that she was trying to obtain from posting it, from the selling it, from the prostituting of herself. Now, it's also important to note that Bianca had very dark sexual proclivities, right? And this is important, by the way. Let's start off with, again, I want to highlight her self awareness here. This is a Snapchat post or a Snapchat conversation that was taken and uploaded of her talking to one of her orbiters. I don't really know what the context is, but the context isn't really all that's important. What's important is the self awareness. I'm going to read that out to you guys right now.
I've had sex with 6 guys, including you. When we first met until the day we met, I was with multiple guys and I didn't even remember your name. I had to search it up in our Discord history before meeting you. I wanted to ghost you, but I found out you were crazy because you called me on a blocked number. You were literally nothing until the day we met. I could have replaced you in seconds.
Now, I want to I want to keep this in mind that once again, she was a 17-year-old girl, but she had a lot of self-awareness. I'm not entirely sure we can call this intelligence, but she definitely knew what she was doing to some degree. Now, what I want to focus on at this point is showing you guys what I mean when I say she sought out darkness or she sought out evil. She has some very dark sexual kinks and fantasies, right? Now, it's important to note that having sexual kinks or fetishes does not necessarily mean, or fantasies more rather, does not necessarily mean that you wish for them to be enacted upon you in a physical sense. Obviously so. For example, which we're gonna talk about here, are snuff fantasies. If you don't know, a snuff fantasy is basically sexualizing the idea of you being murdered, or you being killed while you're being like raped or tortured in some sense. Getting off on the idea of being killed. Now, if you remember the telonym post that I showed you earlier, I'm going to read something out to you guys that just, it scratches the surface, right?
Drops knife on the floor seductively. Oh no, winky face. Kicks it towards you. How reckless of me. Lies down in a vulnerable position. Oh no, looks like I.
So now getting back onto here, let us now see she had these dark sexual fantasies of being murdered. But not only just that, there's a little more I'm going to read you guys out to you. Now, this is also a 4gen archive post that she created. How do we know it's her? At the end of the post, you'll find a Discord tag that leads to her username. It obviously doesn't work anymore now because she's dead. But we know that it was her. Now, she lied about her age, which you will see, but we're going to be reading the sexual proclivities and the fantasies and the kinks, and we're going to be highlighting them because they are all very, very important.
19, female, US. Fucked up fetishes. Being someone's personal cat girl / e-girl. Being drugged and raped, mind breaking, using mental illness against me, Stockholm Syndrome, kind of fucked up age play and DDLG, and other stuff I can't remember right now. Other kinks. I'm a sub, and I love to be praised as much as I love to be insulted. I'm kinda a brat, but I really want someone to depend on. No extreme pain, anal, and scat please. I also have little to no experience, so please be patient and nice with me. Normie stuff. I'm a weeb, and I love childish things. Get to know me through text, and you'll learn more, I think. Contact, and this is her Discord username.
Now, you'll notice that she had rape fantasies. Now, rape fantasies are a topic I have conducted some research into, but I haven't really made a video about because they're very complex. But what's very important about rape fantasy is where it stems from, what its core is. And the core of a rape fantasy is a want to be overwhelmingly desired. It is wanting a man to want you so much that he will rape you. He gives reckless abandon to the law, to how you feel and what you want. He wants you so desperately and so badly that he rapes you. He doesn't care about your feelings. That is what the desire of the rape fantasy is, and what it stems from is clear and obvious neglect. Clearly, this girl was being neglected by her father. I don't even know if she had a father in her life at all. Clearly, she felt neglected by the men in her life, and this is what caused her to seek out these orbiters. This is what caused her to seek this out. Now, we read in the earlier post, apparently she was molested and she was abused, and this is a part of where her dark proclivities come from. A lot of people, when they have been abused, will sexualize their abuse, especially at a very, very young age, especially children. Always, usually, I won't say always, but they usually will sexualize their abuse, and then they'll become very depressed and very sad, and they'll try to reenact or relive these scenarios and these situations constantly. Once again, we see here. We'll see in her post again, she was asking for DDLG. Now, what is that? That stands for Daddy Little Girl. It's a very, very strange. Well, it's actually not strange, but it looks very strange to anyone on the outside. It's basically a role play fantasy where your dad becomes, or an older male basically becomes your father and becomes your dad, and he punishes you and he treats you like a child. It's reliving, more than anything else, the missed childhood that girl didn't get by having a father in her life. That's what the core of that type of fantasy is. Now, why is all this very important, my friends? I want to bring you guys over to Brandon's Instagram, right? Because this is something I noticed. And it seems like a small detail, but I do think it's important, right? Now, like I said, this was clearly a murder-suicide, not only because he murdered the girl and he attempted suicide, but on his Instagram, he posted this as the description. You can't see it now because Instagram's gone, but we got some screenshots. Now, I want you to look at his description. Now, you'll notice that the description is of a lifetime, but he was born in 1997. That means if we do some basic arithmetic, he would have become 22, so he's what, 21 now. That means he was older than her, which means she is seeking out older men to have relationships with. What's very important about what happened with Bianca here and this man Brandon is the fact that they had some sort of relationship going on. Now, I don't know the full extent of what their relationship was, unfortunately, but there was clearly something tight-knit or intimate going on. How do I know? Well, he met her mother a couple of times. He was enough to get jealous when she found that when she was kissing another person. He drove out. He was actually originally the guy who was supposed to drive her out to the concert where she was killed at anyway. There's a lot of history that goes in between them. This wasn't a random thing. And this is what I find to be very, very important. The fact that this girl sought out people with dark thoughts and dark fantasies and fascinations. It is no surprise that this man, one, killed her, nearly, slit her throat in such a disgusting degree, and then uploaded the gore. It's no surprise. Because, my friends, she was looking for people like that. She wasn't some famous Instagram thought or star or whatever. She was a severely mentally deranged, I'm not going to say deranged, but mentally dark, mentally damaged, neglected little girl playing with fire, seeking out darkness, and she found it. This isn't a cautionary tale of men are bad on the internet. This is the tale of someone seeking out evil and finding evil and playing with evil and then it ultimately killing her. That's what that was. That's what this is. This is not an example of how men are bad on the internet. This is not an example of how Instagram stardom is toxic or social media is toxic. No, this is an example of toxic people, damaged, destroyed people psychologically and mentally, seeking out to relive the evil in their life, seeking out to relive and seeking out darkness and evil in order to obtain some type of validation, in order to obtain some type of sexual. Usually what happens with a lot of people who've been abused sexually is they then start trying to master sex. What does that mean? It means they start trying to find pleasure in the sex that was used to abuse them and hurt them. And that's what this is once again. Notice the fantasy she has. Notice the desire to be raped. Notice the desire to have older males in her life. She's neglected. She's been abused. And it brought her to seeking out evil. That's what this story should be about and should be focused on. And that's why I felt the need. I need to make this video on point and highlight all of this out to most of the people who have seen this shit. This is not the tale of some virginal, white-as-the-driven snow young lady walking down the street getting grabbed and killed. No, this is the story of a very, very pained person not getting any help, but instead obtaining a lot of different orbiters, feeding her ego, feeding her bullshit, protecting her from the reality of the world, until finally she went up against an orbiter that was going to give her exactly what she asked for. Because here's the thing, you will call it victim blaming, but let us not pretend that she did not ask for it. She did. It's not saying that she deserved to be killed. Obviously not. Clearly I don't think so, and no one, there are some people who do, but I disagree with them. Clearly, obviously. But it is important to note that this did not happen randomly. She sought out people like this, and she found them. The important lesson, what should be the important takeaway, is one, the destructive nature of orbiting. In so many different ways, which it can be dissected in its own video essay, really. But the destructive nature of orbiters protecting women from any reality, protecting them from the fact that they are flirting with danger, protecting them, feeding their ego and making them think that it's okay to manipulate men, it's okay to hurt men, it's okay to do all these different things because they were wronged. There's that negative, nasty, disgusting part of orbiting that's there. The total disregard for the woman's mental health, her mental sanity, only using her as a thing, basically to just come with, legitimately. just an internet cum rag, basically. And that's what a lot of these orbiters were. That's why she didn't care about them. That's why she couldn't care about them, because she realized that they didn't care about her. It's this toxic, nasty cycle that when she attracted these dark, evil orbiters to her, one of them ended up doing exactly what she asked for. That's what should be the takeaway. How disgusting and how evil some of these men are. It's not that men are bad. It's that they are evil men. And you have these damaged and destructive girls seeking them out. Here's the thing. A lot of people probably think I sound like a broken record. And I do. But once again, my friends, this is why women need men in their lives. Plain and simple. Oh, she needed a father in her life in order to give her a sense of identity, so she didn't have to seek it out from evil people on the internet. To protect her from the foolishness of manipulating these men, baiting these men, hurting these men. To protect her from that. She needed good men in her life to keep her safe from the bad ones. It's not that all men are bad. It's that there are evil forces in the world. Male, female, there's evil force in the world, and the only way you beat that is with goodness. That's what should be taken away. But unfortunately, what we always get is the same bullshit. Man bad, woman good. Men should be scared of women should be scared of men. It's more complex than that. Actually, it's a little more simple. It's much simpler than that. Evil needs to be fought. Evil needs to be defeated. Let us not pretend that this girl had no hand in what happened to her. She did. And the cautionary tale for any other lady out there is to not fuck around with evil orbiters. Do not seek validation, especially not from your abuse. Do not use your abuse as some sexual format to gain validation and prop yourself up and manipulate men. That's what the takeaway should be. It should be that you should be trying to protect yourself from this long before we get to meeting evil people. With that being said, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. Shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.